HaMitzvah sholosh ve'alboim. Ish is hilnu me'ahavir sar hatzdoim. Here is the law of Pasarosh, and probably Kapach's translation, at least, is better from a halachic point of view. I have to check out the Arabic. He says Milagaleach, and we'll see in Rambam and in Mishnah Torah as we see that is probably much. It's a good translation. It's a good. It's rendering the mitzvah in the proper way, at least in the Rambam's family reference. So the mitzvah, there's a lav ashor of the Galeach Hasarosh Sa'ar Hatzdoim. Okay? For Omer Yis'aleh Lo Sakifu Pas Roshchem. So the Isa is clearly Giluach, the Ram Hilchos Avodah Zarah, Perek Yud Beis, Halacha Aleph, and Vav, Ein Megalchin Pasei Rosh, K'mo Shoyo Isin, Avodah Zarah, Shenemar, Leisakifu, Pas Roshchem, V'chulei, Halacha Vav, Umuta lelaket hapeyos b'misparayim lo nesa el ashchosa betar. So the east is giluach, and scissors there's no problem. Here also, the Chuvas Rambam in Siman Reish Mem Dalet. Umuta loy legaleach hapeos kulon b'misparayim. Bekach oisim anachnu tomid. What's a lomin the galeach pasei orosh b'misparayim. Lefi shaloi ne'asar el hashchosa shel tar. The Isser is only betar, and Ram says he himself cut the peyos orosh. Or we'll see about the Zokon, but the moment the Rosh with Misparayim. He says, V'kach oisim anachnu tomid. Rotzaloimo, he says, Umuta lagaleach apeyos kulon, that means Pasarosh v'azokon, v'misparayim. V'kach anachnu oisim tomid. Rotzaloimo lagaleach pasarosh v'misparayim. V'fi shaloi neser el ashchosa, shel tar. And we'll see about this later. The rest of the chew. So now the next step is, this is only a lav. There's no mitzvah say legadil pasarosh, even though maybe some sectors of society might assume there's no mitzvah say. It's only an asshole. And this the Ram Tshuva, and towards the end, where he says, the fishloi nesar el ashchoso shel tar, v'lo tzivonu legaleach hatzdoim. Kamo shechoshev hamon. The general populace thinks the mitzvah to magadol, the pasarosh, but it's wrong. It's only a lamb. El hanozi hu asher tzivo legadol asar. The mitzvah of the gadol sar was always said by Nozir. Ulchein in Gilach, Bito Mitzasei. The Nozir by Megaleach not only violates the Ova al Mitzloisase, not only violates a law, there's an Isasei. V'ein adovo b'peis kach. This is not the case in Pasal Rosh or Pasal Zokan. Elo hu mitzvahs loisa se levad. Lefikach eino chayiv legadlon elo asua olov ashchosa levad because of Moshe. So that's very clear. The lav is a lav of tav. Misparayim is mutter. So misparayim is mutter in Pasal Rosh, in Pasal Zokan, which we'll see later. But now we're talking about Pasal Rosh. So that's very clear. Then the Ram continues. V'ashor mizeh gam kain. It's important. Gam kain refers to the previous Ashor. We spoke about this. Kidei shelo nizdameh li'ovdei avodah zarah. That we shouldn't do things similar to ovdei avodah zarah. And here, he came hoyu, and this is much better, hoyu, oisim komrei avodah zarah, or komrei avodah zarah, ovdei avodah zarah, shoymegalchim sar atztoim levad. They used to have probably blurers. They was cut everything on the side, and they left in the middle. But the important thing is, they used to cut on the side, two sides of the head. And maybe they don't do it now. They only used to do it. That's he says, hoyu, shehoyu megalchim sar atztoim levad. So this, we are not being joined from the lav of because they don't do it now. Depends on the times, and if the times change, then the lav changes. Goyim don't do it, then there's no Isa. But this is also if Goyim don't do it. The Rambam says it was Nesal because that's what Goyim did, I assume, at the time of Matan Torah. The Rambam Mishnah Torah also is like that. In Hilchos Avodah Zarah, Per Gid Beis Halacha Aleph, Ein Megalchin Pasei Rosh Kamo Shehoyu Oisin Oivdei Avodah Zarah Shneim Lo Sakifu Pas Roshchem. Min Chasir, I think, points this out also, if I'm not mistaken, in Mitzvah Aleph Lis Aleph. Now, maybe I should just do the opposite, just go further and go back to talk about the Tam, because the Rambam here has polemics about the Tam. He says like this: Ulechein, since the time of the mitzvah is lo this damois lehem, ulechein hutzlachu shivaru b'meseches yevomois, and it's a heyam and aleph, v'omru hakofas kol horosh shmo hakof. Even if you take all the hair off the head, it's also called hakof. Today, Shalei Toima, ki tachlis, mashi shomer hu giluach hatztoim, v'hiniach shar hasam. The lav is to leave the center hair there and to cut the hair around. Tachlis mashi shomer hu giluach hatztoim v'niach shar hasar. Kmo shiasu, hilchos yasu means kmo shiasu probably. Hoimrei avodah omnom shigalach hakol. If you just remove all the hair from the head, aim bezer dimin behem, and therefore you're not like them. Hine hodianu she'eino muter legalei chatztoim b'shum ponim lo b'yichud v'lo im orosh. See here, and this will be very important for the discussion I want to go back to, you get the impression, Rambam, that the Tama mitzvah is a chalashim midaraisa, and you could have imagined, because of the Tama mitzvah, wherever it's inapplicable, it should be mutter. Kamash Malon, we of the opinion, Hakof is kol aloish shmo hakofa. So even though it doesn't have dimyan, it's still awesome. So Ki'ilu, it's like a loy plug deraisa. Even though the etzemis is because of the dimyon to the avodah zarah, but after it's nesra, it's also even if there's no dimyon. That's what you would have learned. It's like a loy plug deraisa. The Sefer Chinuch, that's what I would have said. Sefer Chinuch has a different spin on this. That the Isa is because it's daima l'daima. Sefer Chinuch mitzvah and Aleph, mipnei shezeh meikre tama mitzvah. So I guess not all the time do you have to get involved in it, but this is meikre tama mitzvah. We differentiate between various tama mitzvah, but it's ikre tama mitzvah. And then if it's not applicable, then you might be matir. Or yitzrichen zechoyin levrocha sheyivayu ki hakofes kol aloish gam kein b'chlal alav shloi toime shetachlis ma sheneesa k'dei shedam alehem v'hem lo yigalchu kol aloish kuloi lamadnu shegam ze b'chlal lo yisuhu. Or shebo b'om v'yivomois hakofes kol aloish shmo hakof. So at this point, it's exactly the Rambam. Then he adds another sentence, which is very odd. The Efsha, ki atera osra kol mishum daima ledaima. That you have some dimyan by taking the word. It's daima ledaima. It's daima, a complete hair, taking everything off is daima to daima. It's daima to the case because you're taking the payas off, and the payas by themselves are daima. So the daima l'daima, I'm not sure. See, I would have said it's not because it's daima l'daima. I would have said that it's a loy plug deraisa, because this leaves the opportunity opening if it wouldn't be daima l'daima, then you might be matir. Maybe you can imagine a case. That sounds a little bit, we'll see about that, okay? This Betzem is the Ram's take on it, but you could have said the opposite, that the Gzeres HaKosuv is, the Torah says, Lo Yisagala Pas, and pas is only if you leave everything else. So you leave the pas, but however, in other words, if there's hair in the middle, so you should leave the pas. But if there's no hair there, there's no pas because there's nothing. That's Rashi. Look at Rashi in Makis. And then you don't have to say this time HaMitzvos over here. The Te'oma pass. You got how call. There's no pass. Rashi Yavom is here and Aleph Ksova Haitana. The Itzrich lay Roishoi Litches Lab the Tkipo. That Kopf is called a Rosh Shema Kopf. Gulaminon pass Kosav Rachmon. It's pass. So the whole according to Rashi there's no time over here. The Ram does a major thing over here that because the Gemara is a Havamina to be matir. So we would say that the Isa is the Lizdamois. And Rashi the is no hech because he learns the Gemara that the Gzeres also pass. And pass is only if you have hair, maybe. And we decide Kamash Malon, it's called pass, even if you don't have hair there. That's what I assume what's going on in Rashi. Hine hodionu she'eno muter legaleach hatzdoim b'shum ponim lo biyichud v'lo yimolosh kapach chalu better lo levado v'lo mikol alosh. Now we're ready for this. Comes the tour. In Kuf Peyal, Yodei Kuf Peyal, Hakofis Haroish, Vashchos Hazokon, Gam Be'elu Kosim Aramba, She'osra Kosim Imenei She'oisin Kain, Oivdei Kechovim. Adkan. V'zeh Eino Mufurish, V'eino Tzrichen Levakesh Tam L'mitzvos, Ki Mitzvos Melech Heim Olenu Af Loineda time. So the interesting thing, we look at the tour, he doesn't disagree with the Rambam. He says, V'zeh eino mufurish. That's all he says. V'zeh eino mufurish. Right. Then he says, V'eino tzricha levakish tam lemitzvos. We don't need to understand it, but it doesn't mean it's wrong. But then he says, Gizeres melech heim olenu af loineda time. So it seems to be that if you're gonna look for timing, then the mitzvah you don't understand the time you might not do. I'm not sure exactly what the problem is, but you look at it, it doesn't seem that he disagrees. He just says that there may be like a hefsid because you have to do mitzvahs anyway if you don't understand the time. So this needs a little work, but it's interesting lashon. The Beis Yosef goes on and on here. So he says, the Beis Yosef learns that he's disagreeing. The Vormu Vorim Shedaito Lachlok Al Ramba Lom Lo Levakesh Tam Midaito L'Shum Mitzvah Shnir She'il Lo Hoya Yoidim Tam HaMitzvos Lo Yinitz Mitzvah L'Aseisam Ve'en Adova Kain Ki Mitzvos HaMelech Olenu V'af Im Lo Yineda Taimom Onu Mitzvah L'Aseisam. So the truth is, I don't understand this because the Rambam is shot in the Gemara. You see, you could disagree about the other cases before that the Rambam says, let's damois, it's the Gam Kain, the case maybe of Shatnis or others, like Silbash. But here, you see, this taina of ein ono tzrichen levakesh tama mitzvahs is lechuli not applicable over here because the Ram learns or does chat in the Gemara because the Gemara has a man the Omo that maybe a kofas koloroish is lav shmoakov. The Gemara is mechadish. No, not a man the Omo. A kofas koloroish shmoakov. He says, what's the issue? So the Ram said, it's very clear. The issue is because of the Tama Mitzvahs. The Ram will have a vakesh. The Ram does state in Gemara according to the Ram. Not sure what, the whole masumat of the two is very odd over here. See, if it's a discussion in general about Tamia Mitzvahs, then I can say they ain't all Levakish. And you could understand his discussion. But here the Ram learns what does chat in the Gemara, so I'm not sure what the two wants. Beis goes on and on, yeah. Vani oimed, chaslei Rambam, ulemizba hochi, umi yochush l'kover atera, v'amitzas yes mimenu, dvo b'sefer chus milu yochichu, ki eitz ben kosa b'sefer chus tmua, b'sefer chus migvos, ומשון נסבוינן, שדאית זלוי משאף משוכח כתר גזייס המלכים, מכל מקום, כל מה שנוכל לבקש לא איתם, נוים אבותם, כרבי שמעון דדורש time at the clock. See, I'm not sure this comparison to Reb Shimon, it's the same thing. Marshal Imsuloi, Tam, Niaches Hadovo Leklitzas Gazenu, V'onu Chayov L'kaimum K'moi Mitzvah, K'moi HaMitzvos Shenoida, Tam, Ki Gzeres HaMelechem, Olenu. Mikol Makom Mitzvahs Elu, Nirli, also behem Tam Oram Midaita El Midas HaKosuv. Okay. So instead, according to the Gemara, the Beis Yosef says it's chat and posik, something like Reb Shimon, he goes. Because he says, El Midas HaKosuv, Shemotzu, Mukofis Lifneim Leachreim, Meimitzah Nesel Mishum Chuk HaGoyim. Chuk HaGoyim is before and afterwards. Shai Kosuv name Leiseichu Adom, which are chukas hagoyim, v'achreim kosu b'seret l'nefesh u'ksevis kake, which is also chukas hagoyim. By zeh, kimeforish hakopus haloish rashchos hazok and nesrim minei shehoy oisin keino levo the zok. As Rama puts in the middle, there's a raya you can learn from the psukim. However, comes the Bach and quotes he Kufay Aleph, he quotes the Meiri, he doesn't quote the Rambam in Minyan HaMitzvos. He quotes the Rambam because it was the Sefer Timsa Ze Kosu B'Sifreim. כל זה כוסף אוגב בתם המצווה כדי להגדיל כהסחורו שמובד עליו ומפורש בגילוח פייס הלוש והזוקין אויד אויבה משום בלאו דבחוקוסיהם לא יסלח. So I'm not sure if that's correct. Here you can say it depends on what it's knowing now and not before, and the question is Mechuseim is on top of that. But Beis Yosef kosher das Rambam in the Seder Psukim, v'nochinu, el shaloi nimsu mizeh b'divrei Rambam, al mash kasati umufurish b'svorov, because that's where the goyim did it. But I would have said better, you have Hilam over here, and the Gemara Yevomis, that's the real proof. The Ramon Dalkei Moshe, ואני אומר, גם כן, חסלי לרבנו, שיחשד בקשיין כמו הרמב"ם, למזבו לו, שיזבו שאם לא היו יודעים תם המצווה, לא היינו מצווים לעשייסי. כי לא מצינו בשום חוכם, מישראל שיאמן בזה, אלא הוא רק דרך הפריקרים, בתרא שאינם מאמינים רק מה שיסכים אליו השכל. So that's a different issue. So I would have said, when the Tam is not shaykh, maybe that's an issue. But he's saying, if you don't understand the Tam, you don't have to do the mitzvah. לכן אי אפשר שרבנו חושב שזה על הרמב"ם, על המשקע זה אינו מפורש, ואצלנו שלא נדרש תימי לקרוא, למה שאינו עושה, אלא בדרך שעושה ורחובים, וכמראים, אלא בכל עניין עושה. הואיל ואין הטעם מפורש במקרא, אין להטי במקום. ואין אמרת שאין הטעם שייך. זהו נראה לי בדס רבנו, לא כמו שחושב עליו החוכם, Baal Beis Yosef. So he learns the way I would have learned, okay? The only problem is, but the truth is, but the Ram says it's true. If you would have learned that the time is because of the Zohar, when it's not Shaykh, it wouldn't have been an Isa. But you need a Fushah Gemara to tell you it's not so. So the Ramah, it's direct, correct. But why do you need a Gemara? Ram says, without the Gemara, you might have been mattered. But the issue of what's bothering the Rambam is certainly true. Well, that's the tool, I don't know. Comes the Prisha. Let's leave with this. לפי נסתייתי נראה דרבנו לא דיקטק על הרמב"ם, אלא מצווה יצא באלו שאין טעמם נגלה, והן כאין חוק עלינו כפור אדומה. כך הוא מצווה ועל תשחיס ועל תקיף, מצווה בלי טעם. לא דומה לא ישימו כוח או יסגלו שריטה, שהשם יסבור חופץ בנו, ויש מהודורים בפונו. ולצייר או יסון בגדירו וציר ובזבול לכן כיוון שמצווה זו כאין חוק כי אין לו לבד טעם מליבנו אם לא שנרמוס טעם בתורה גם לא דומה לכוחו וכו' שהם אסורים מטעם חוקי הגויים שהם מפורשים כן כמו שכזה שם. It's okay. That's you have. I'm not sure, we don't know exactly what the tool wants, but the amazing thing is the Rambam over here that clearly says that when the Tam is not Shaykh, you could have imagined that it was Mutter, even the Tam is not Mefurish B'Klah. But it's only because the Gemara says that Akof is called Aloy Shmo Akof. But you see, the important thing for us is the Rambam should explain the teretz. What's the teretz? And the chinuch says that it's doim, whatever that means. I would have said that the Torah said it's stam, and even when it's not shaykh. So basically, you end up with the Rambam. That you can have the tam, but even when the tam is not shaykh, we say loy plu. So this is it. I don't know what more to add to this. You see, you could have done something else. We don't know if it's true. You see, the question is the Chisur of the Zohar v'Yog v'Yavo. And, I think the Minchas Chinuch says that if it's because of Avodah Zarah, it's Ab Israel. And it might also be, it's difficult for me to imagine that doima avodas or doima this or doima that. That's already abizrayu. You know, especially with the shiltais, that the question is, were goyim dress or not? But that's not because of Bizrayu. We're going the opposite of the Misane, according to shiltais, because you're bowing down, tie the laces, and or you could say, according to other Rishonim, it's because goyim dress like that, so it's the same, and it's b'shas hashmad afilu al mitzvah kala, but that these things should be abizrayu and it should be yavo. I think the Minchas Sinuch suggested, but I'm not sure you can make a case in the Rambam. And then you can say that the tam is lahachmir. Then it's Yog Vayavo, but I find it difficult. I'm not sure exactly, it's not Mefurish and Rambam what he does with Abizrayu, what's concluded in Abizrayu. But I would have said, Adrabah, the Ram has, and I'll say like what I really want to say. The Ram says there's Hilchais Avodah B'chukas Hagoyim. You can think about those things which are mentioned until Perek Yud, including Perek Yud, and imagine that there might be Abizrayu. I'm not sure, I'm not getting involved whether the Ram has Abizrayu or not. But if the Ram says Hilchas Avodah B'chukas Hagoyim, I would have assumed the Chukas Hagoyim is not Abizrayu. Okay. That is the first discussion. I thought there's a lot of interest over here. And I'm not sure, how important it is to play what exactly does the two mean, or what does he mean? But the interesting thing is what the Rambam claims, what the Beis Yosef claims, is the Rambam actually agrees with it and says it's true. But it's awesome because the Gemara says it's awesome. And that I found amazing. Okay, now. So I think the Ram learns and disagrees with Rashi, and the Ram learns that Pas Horosh is, you see, I think according to Rashi, Pas Horosh is only if you have hair all over your hair, then they call it Pas. I'm reading Pas Kosev Achmonu. In Pas is a Pas of the hair. I think the Ram learns Pas is an anatomical thing. It's a corner of the head. So then what's the Havamina? That if you learn Pas is in relation to other hair, so the Rashi 100% right. And that's l'chayr, there's no hechach in the Gemara to say that the tam is l'zdamus l'evdei of the zohar. But if you learn, like the Rambam, I think he learns that Pas is an anatomical thing. It depends upon, like on the skull, the corner of your head. So that's completely independent if you have hair or you don't have hair. So what's the issue in the Gemara? That Hakof is Koloroi Shmo Hakof or not. So the Ram learned from that, or Hoda state in the Gemara, the Push in the Gemara, that the time of the mitzvah is Mizdamus L'Evdei Avodah Zarah. I think that is a nice, interesting discussion. It depends upon how you interpret Pas Horosh. Is it a pas of a related to to hair, or is it an anatomical feature related to the skull? And if related to the skull, then it doesn't make a difference. And then you have to have a new shot in what the Gemara's Havamina of Hakofis Koloroi Shmo Hakofu. Okay, let's continue. V'chayiv Malkus I'll call Peah Mehem. So here now is a whole new discussion. That if you take off the two payos with one hasra and teichadei dibo assume of the hasra, you chayiv two malchus instead of one. V'hu chayiv shtayim in gilech kol harosh. And that's not the issue of kol harosh. We're really interested in the two payos. The Ibn Tibbet's translation is very poor over here. You see, the friend doesn't agree. V'chayiv malchus akol pei mehem v'hu chayiv shtayim im gilach kol harosh doesn't make any sense. In Kappa is much better. V'chayiv malchus akol pei mehem u'lefikoch chayiv shtayim im gilach kol harosh. Now, Ibn Tibbet goes, Horoi. Shaloi nimne zeh shtei mitzvos. And Kapach says, Vatam shaloi nimne shtei mitzvos. See, here's the problem. You chayiv two malchus. So it should be two mitzvahs. The Afal Pi Shulukestein, the Rambam asks the question, it's the Chulukestein. And the whole Shiur Chi says that Minyan mitzvahs are Lafi Minyan Malkios. Since Shulukestein, there should have been two mitzvahs here, two asholas. So this is a kasha. The Afal Pi Shulukestein, question mark. And the answer is Ki lefi she'ein bohem shtei lashonos tachas lav echod. You have to understand what that means. Ki hu ilu omer le'sakifu pas rosh miyimin pas rosh mismol umatzonu chivu aleim shtayim oz hoyev shaloimah Sheim nishtei mitzvahs. Now, let me just explain, and then we'll get back to the text. For example, you look at the lav in the Torah of Yisuch Alecho Bisharecha Ma'aseh Degoncha Tiroshcha Yitzarecha. So since it's a separate malchus on Ma'aseh Dogon, Ma'aseh Tirosh, Ma'aseh Yitzro, Chutz L'Yushalayim, so the Nimna 3 in Minyan HaMitzvos. And it's Ki'ilu, the Malchus Megale, that the singular lo, you read it is 3 separate times. Le'isuch alecho b'sharecho Ma'aseh Dogoncho, V'lo Ma'aseh Tiroshcha, V'lo Ma'aseh Yitzarecha. Or if there would be 2 malchus on Achilles Korban Pesach of Noah Umavusha, Al Tochum Menu Noah, V'al Tochum Menu Umavusha. If there would have been 2 malchus, we would have read the pasuk. See here also, if we would have said Lo Sakifu Pas Rosh Miyamin Upas Rosh Mismol, and you get 2 separate malchus, we read it Lo Sakifu Pas Rosh Miyamin V'lo Pas Rosh Mismol. So the 2 laws, so it should be 2 mitzvahs in Minyan HaMitzvos. So I'm not sure in Rambam how to read the next phrase. He says, Oz hoye ef shaloima sheyim no shtei mitzvah. I would have said Oz hoyu moinim shtei mitzvah. What's efsha? Efsha means you have two options. But if the two ashola, the two malchus, and the pasuk has two l'shainos, the whole church she says that it should be two mitzvah and mitzvah. I don't know what the efsha is. Oz hoye efsha sheyim no shtei mitzvahs. Onam b'yosim mila achas minyan echod hine hu be'emes mitzvah achas. Ve'amapi shebo b'feir shelav zeh koilo chalokim rabim mischalfim min haguf u'shu chayiv al kol cheli v'cheli b'yichud. Ilo yichayiv zeh sheyem mitzvahs haben. Okay, we say that. That's good. Now, this let me read it to you. The Rambam in Shiur Chi, v'chelik hasheni k'mo milas zeh hachelik hakodim b'shaveh. Aval hu ba b'ferish makubo ki kol dovo v'dovo men advorim atufim loikin olav b'fnei atzmoi. If the Makabale Matiki Hashmua says you get separate malchus, even though the Otuf with one low, even though there's one low, but it goes in each one separately. It's not that you have a choice, that's the way it should be. Mizeh omu leisuch alecho b'shorecho, ma'aseh the gon chutiosh v'tzorecho. Omu b'gmor krisus. Avo ma'aseh dogon, tiosh v'yitzro, chayim v'kolachas v'yachas. V'hikshu azeh, v'omu v'chiloiken alav shebeklolois. Vo'es hatshuva, ko yiseir ksiv. Michte ksiv, v'ochaltev v'nei Hashem lokecho, ma'aseh the gon chutiosh v'tzorecho. Lo michtav leisuch alecho b'shorecho. V'chitemo lelav im kein lemakor leiseichlo. Lo mali lemeda lemichtavinu kulu shma min lachalik. So once the Torah is machalik in Malkis, it's three separate asholas. So it's if it's written leisuchal lecho, as we said, leisuchal lecho. Ma'aseh the goncho, leisuchal lecho my tishro, tiloshcho leisuchal lecho mishorecho. It's halech. So it should be here. It should be here also. Loisakivu pas roish mimin. Loisakivu pas roish mismo. If there be too much, since we have two malchus. Now, mila achas omnom biyois mila achas v'inyin echod. Mila achas in kapach it's loshen echod. It means it doesn't say pas roish yamin or pas roish mismo. It says lesakifu pas raishchem. Which is, I don't know if it's one word, but it's one lashon. It's one phrase that refers to two separate places. the pas rosh yamin, the pas rosh small. So you can't, you can only make Malchus, you can only use Malchus to make two separate lavim if you can rewrite the pasuk and put a low in front of each different part. So you have al tochumenu no mavusho, al tochumenu no, al mavu, al tochumenu no, al tochumenu busho. Or you put the low in front of each one. But over here, where it's one word, pas roshchem, you can't split it up. You can only split it up as kilo as the Malchus says the Pirush Makubal is to add an extra low. But if the low can't be read in the pasuk, doesn't make any sense. So you can't make it two lavim. See here, I'm confused. Because if the Rambam said, Omnom b'yoyse mila achas loshen echod inei hu be'emes mitzvah achas v'af al pi shebo b'ferish shelav ze kol chalokim rab mischaf meguf shehu chayev al kol achad v'echod mehem hinei ze yischayev l'yoyis mitzvahs harbe. Ushehu chayev al kol chelik v'chelik he lo yichayev ze sheyeh mitzvahs harbe. Okay, we say that. Lo yichayev. I don't think lo yichayev. It just shouldn't be. Lo yichayev is a very odd thing. Now, I just want to say something. I did something which not 100% fair, but I just wanted to show you something. The Rambam adds two other words here which need an explanation. Omnom biyoisei mila achas v'inyan echod. Luitzor would be mila achas or loshen echod, and it would have been two inyanim. Then the Rambam could have accepted that it should have been two malchus. How could and the emissaries maybe so yes says yes oz, because I don't know how lush and echod could be in itself two inyanim. I don't know how it happens. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the Ram wants, because like overkill, because every lush and echod is always by definition inyan echod. But then it's an important thing then that if the Torah says Pashimin and Pasmol, there's two malchus, even though logically it's an inyan echod, and it's just mischaf and maguf, there'll be two malchus. Which is an amazing thing. It means the Matiki Ashmur can actually make two lavim, because the Torah has kilos two lows, and they're talking about different things. You can't say, I don't know, they're two separate malchus, or made it two separate lavim. Which is very, very interesting. The phrase Hine lo yechayev zeh shiur mitzvahs harbe, I don't know, it's lo yechayev, it's impossible. Because it's like no mavusha. but it's not Nova Vush, because Nova Vush, there's one Malchus. There's because I don't think he just proved the fact that it's Lashon Echod, Minyan Echod. Then Mela, it's Minyan Ach, it's one mitzvah, right? So I don't know. Yechayev means I don't think, it's difficult to imagine that he means something serious. One second. Ein ze chapach, ein ze mechayev, shia mitzvahs halbei. So maybe it just means that Ribui Malchus by itself doesn't make up two mitzvahs unless you have a lashon that supports it. Probably that's what he means. I just want to add something. What is the Rambam? The Rambam is almost, see, if it would have been up to me, you could have said, Omnam biyoyse mila achas, biyin echod inehu be'emes mitzvah achas. I would have ended over here. The Rambam says no. Ve'af bi shebo befeirush, shelav zeh kol chalokim rabim. What's the afapi? Like it's a double. He just had the argument, and he said it wasn't an argument. So what is he adding here? So I would tell you the following, and if what I'm saying is correct, it's very important. What's the word befeirish over here? It's ki'ilu. I would say this is a pirush makubal that there's an isa for pas ha-rosh hayamin and pas rosh hashmol. So the pirush makubal is ki'ilu that it's written in the Korah, as and you see in Sheri Sheni, the pirush makubal is also good enough for love. There's a kiva pas rosh yamin, was a kiva pas rosh mismol. And you have two malchus. So it should be two lavim in minyan. That l'chayr is argument. The afalpis is an apology because the chapirush makubal, because the malchus is a pirush makubal. So it's if it's written in the pasuk, let's say kiva pas rosh yamin or pas rosh mismol. So then he seems to be saying, which frankly, we don't understand it 100%, that Malchus can make two lavim and make it as if it's written low twice, only if in Tersha B'Ksav you have two separate Lishonos. You have a Lashon Pasimin and Pasmo. But if the whole Pasimin and Pasmo is only through a Pirush Makubal, then Malchus don't make, Ribui Malchus don't make Ribui Mitzvahs. And that's it. He says, Hine lo yechayev, because then he's saying a new principle that the Pirush Makubal with two Malchus is not mechayev to have mitzvahs halbe. That's a very important thing then. I think it's amazing then, if it's correct. Now, let's go on to the next point. There is, and the Ram continues, Ukfar nisboyer, Ukfar nisbaru, mishpete mitzvazo, b'seif makis, u'mitzvazo, ein anosh chayovis bo. So let's start slowly. Start slowly like this. The Ravid seems to say there could be two ashoras in the Torah. Ashora for Makif, the person who does not kofar, and ashora for the person in the nikaf, the person whose head is shaved. Okay? With a tar, with a razor. The Ravid in Mina Kotze, in Loisa Se Mem Gimel, Shul Lahakif Pas Roish Ki Koimi Avodah Zorah Etz Rambam, Shenemar Lo Tkivo Pas Roshchem. Asoras Ravid the Masal Lahakif Pas Roish Ki Koimi Avodah Zorah. So he writes like this: Om Avrom Lav LeMakif V'Lav LeNikif. Lav lemashchis, v'lav lenishchas. So the Chai is adding two lavim, an extra lav for dikok and an extra lav for nishchas. And that's in Pazokum. And the Chai it's a Gemara Makis. Chafum bebeis. Tony Tana comes of Chisto. Echra Makif, the Echra Nikif. Like it. So there's a Malchus or a Makif, and Malchus or Nikov. And Rashi says, the Omer Chomoni, the Nikov who the Ko'ova Alav, the Loisakifu, the Shemin the Kohochi, Loisakifu, Loisanichu Lahakif, the Maniach Lahakif, Kimakif. So it does the same thing, doesn't tell it, Inami, Mene Afki, Beloshin Rabim, Tichsi Loisakifu, Mashmir der Treikoi. Masit Rachmona Nikif or Makif. So it's not the Rabbim of Chayiv, because everyone's Chayiv, so why should be Loshen Rabbim? So Loshen Rabbim includes the Makif and the Nikif. And because of this, the Ravid learns a separate law, but it's the Ram the Shitasa, there's no problem. Because the one Loshen, one Mila, Sakifo. So for one Mila, even though it's Marames and a Drosha, this and that, or even if there would be a Pirush Makubo, but since there's only one Loshen, it's only one Lav. And it's only one Lav in Minyan HaMitzvos. Now, the next thing is umitzzu. It's only one mitzvah. That's a rai against the Ravid. Ein anosh chayoves bo. And here, the Ram says in Perek Yud Beis, Halacha Beis, that even though noshim up to us, avodim achayiv. And here, Amit Hashem, next time, we'll pick up the question, what does it mean? How could avodim be chayiv if noshim up to us? And here, there's a Shagasai about it, and a Rab Chaim, and Amit Hashem, we'll see exactly how this plays itself out with the Ravid Hilchoshefa, Perek Beis, Halacha Beis, but Android is a Chatzi Zocher, Chatzi Likeva. Amit Hashem, we should pick this up and whenever it will be, mitzvah we'll talk about. And anyway, have a gmach simateva.